Hello, hello, Carly and fellow listeners.
Hey guys, what's up?
Welcome to new day. It's a new podcast. It's a new time to tune in and listen to us talk about whatever random stuff
Whatever is
pops
gonna
into our
happen.
head.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a beautiful day on my side of the mic. How are things over there with you, Carly?
I would also say it's a beautiful day. I mean, if you're looking at the weather, I think I don't know, your judgment of weather would determine whether or not you thought it was a beautiful day, but I like it when it rains.
Mm. So it's raining? Is that what that means?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think it's funny, right? Like a lot of times we think about like I hear people say it all the time, like, "Oh, it's raining today. It's not it's a nice day. The sun's out, or it's a nice day because the sun is out." I don't know. There's a lot of rain here. Yeah, and yesterday I was sitting in here, just kind of like staring out the window, looking at all the I don't know millions of shades of green that are so green because of all the rain. So it gave me a really deep appreciation for the rain. So it's a beautiful day.
I like that. I was reading about someone, I think he was like an MMA fighter or something, who would go outside with his son every single time it rained because he wanted his son to grow up not thinking rainy days were like a dead day or a boring day or whatever. So
Oh, I
every
love
time it
that.
rained, they went outside and they said it was their favorite days. The child said was the days that it rained. And I
Aw.
like that. It's a re-seeing, and that doesn't mean you can't be happy when it's sunny out, or you can't be a little gloomy if you wanted to go outside that day and it's gloomy. But it is a way to re-see, right, this agreement to what a good day is, what a bad day is, and even on a very small level, escape that little little trap, because then your whole day depends on the weather, and that's
Yeah.
tough. That's a tough way to
Ooh.
live.
Yeah, I mean, it's been raining here for like a week and it's gonna rain for another several days. So, like, if I only let myself have a good day when the sun was out, I'd be in trouble.
I will say I do physically feel differences though when it's super sunny versus super rainy, and
I do
you
too.
know I think it affects our bodies. I know the dogs and the cats get more tired. They'll just lounge around the house if it's a rainy day. Um, but there's still plenty to enjoy on a cozy rainy day, and so
Yeah. I think it's funny, like, especially, having lived here for a little bit now and it's been raining for, I don't know, since winter. I feel like the dogs have changed their relationship with the rain too. Like yesterday it
oh
was
really?
raining, like substantially raining, and they were running all around, like running outside, like hanging out in the yard. Like, we had some
Aw.
muddy dogs yesterday, but they had a good old time.
That's fun.
But I know what you mean because like I use like broad spectrum light, and I have lots of plants, and do enjoy the sun when it comes out. So yeah, I get that. But
Yeah.
so what's going on?
Oh boy.
Hmm?
Um, I mean, I guess I know this question's coming every time, but I
I
still never
mean,
feel ready for it. What's going on? I don't. When was the last time we talked again?
I don't know. I think
It's like a couple,
it was
three,
like
two,
two
three
weeks
weeks ago,
ago.
2 weeks
Yeah,
ago.
and I was thinking this morning. I'm like, today is gonna go so much smoother than last time went. Last time, thanks for editing that, by the way. I'm sure that was not fun.
Oh man. Oh, you mean physically? Yes, that it was
Yeah.
like or technologically. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was that was a rough episode technologically. We had left and right errors going on, but you're welcome. I think it ended up working out.
Oh,
I had
good.
to do a good old patch job. But
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. So,
Um, yeah, no, today should go much smoother. But yeah, I mean, I think also like physically, energetically, emotionally, 2 weeks ago, I had a lot going on
mm-hmm.
that I was working through. And, I feel better about all of it currently. And, um, you know, I think these various things come in waves, and, you know, It's natural, but otherwise, I think things have been going well, and I'm working with things, and I think a big difference is I'm really emphasizing staying present more, and
Mm-hmm.
um, it's hard, because when we have a lot going on that could be bad in the future, could be a struggle in the future, a few days from now or weeks from now, or oh, this could go bad, or that could pop up again, or whatever, right? um, it's so easy to go there and to live with that in the back of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
But I think placing an emphasis on staying present allows you to deal with any of the emotions as they do pop up, or any of the thoughts as they do pop up, in a healthy way, but then also, let them go, as you don't need to project into the future of what may happen, what you may feel, what you may have to deal with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a different experience. And I think I've been trying to place an emphasis on that to start. Um, and that's been helpful, and kind of even changing my relationship to myself, because then it's not about, okay, who am I as these things are happening? Who am I? Am I the one that has to deal with problems? Am I the one that has to like worry about this? Yada yada. It's more about um, you know releasing totally an idea of identity, and sitting with whatever pops up as it does, and not identifying with it, but um, you know addressing what needs to address, letting go of any fear that pops up that you don't need, and then um, staying with whatever is present. And that's usually life, and it's unfolding beautifully. So it's ongoing practice, I'll say.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. Definitely an ongoing practice and a continual refinement. Hmm. Yeah. Um, I was thinking about, actually, you know what I was thinking about? Like, totally off subject. I was thinking about how for years when I would go see my teacher and have a session, she would pull a card out of the crystal deck. And I kind of want to do that for us here today. Is that cool?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And
We're
what I liked
reversing
about
the
it.
order this time. I like
Yeah,
it.
we are. And I wasn't even going to use this deck. Um, but it was just
Let's
like
do it.
sitting here. And yeah. So, and the thing that I liked about it at the beginning of the session was it, because it's crystal energy, it, I don't know, it brings a frequency into the session and helps kind of support it as it unfolds. Yeah, and that's our intention here, I think. Okay, so let's see what we get. I don't know if you can hear it, but I definitely have dogs snoring in the background here.
I got one doing the dog Olympics by herself in the background.
Nice.
So. She thinks she's in every category. Sprints,
I love that for
shot
her.
put, long jump. She's competing in it all. She's a
Good for her. All right, so we have Zincite, which you can see, like, for those of you with the video, these cards are like so old, like they're out of print. But I love this deck so much. So the keywords here are energizing, stimulating, and motivating, which is actually perfect for us because I think we're both a little tired today. Okay, the power of these crystals is in their ability to clear and rebalance the lower three chakras. It is often here that we get stuck in negative energies, blindly repeat unconscious patterns, and allow karmic links to influence our behavior and decisions. Zincite illuminates all that ties us and prevents us from evolving. It stimulates and energizes the lower energy centers, removing blocks, encouraging us to lift the energy to the heart and mental levels in order to resolve and release it. Zincite promotes cooperation within and outside the self, giving us the motivation and the vitality we need to grow. It enhances our personal power and increases our mental capacity and perception. It is useful for alleviating feelings of depression and lethargy. It promotes the free flow of life force through the body and increases confidence and independence. It helps us come to terms with life and to embrace it joyfully. Healing. Zincite is beneficial for revitalizing outward appearance such as hair and skin and working with the sexual hormones. It balances the thymus gland, immune system, and energy meridians of the body. Divinatory meaning. Drawing this card indicates an influx of energy is on the way. Life, and particularly relations with others, will seem brighter, lighter, and more energized. So let's bring that energy in today. Yeah.
All right, I'll take it.
Yeah, I kind of love
like
that
you
for us.
said, I think we've both been working with a lot of integration and leading to a lot of fatigue physically the last few weeks. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. Well, and it was interesting too. Like I was thinking about how funny it was, how challenging the recording was last time with like all the technical stops and how low energy you and I have both been. And I felt like today was going to go like much more smoothly. And so far it has, thankfully. And I feel like that's also symbolic of kind of like how the energy has felt too. Like it still felt like we were slogging through mud. And now, even though I think we both are feeling pretty tired, there is this kind of, at least for me anyway, there's this feeling of renewal and a feeling of hope and kind of it finally feels like spring energetically in my body. And it's been feeling like winter for a hot minute, and it's like May, so it definitely not what I expected. Oh, ha ha ha. But I knew that the energy would break. I just thought it would happen a little sooner. So but I like the Zincite for this. And I feel like that this is really supportive, especially as we've been kind of slogging through the the reclamation of those lower three centers. So yeah, so I have been tired. And it's interesting. I was thinking, yes, I'm also clearing a lot of energy for my throat center. So forgive me. I guess I will continue to do that all day long. But it's interesting. Like yesterday I was thinking about one, how kind of tired I've been, two, how, I finally they gave me the results for the MRI. Did I tell you, did we talk about this? No. So they said I have bursitis, which I don't like that. I'm not a fan of this because basically they're like, this is just how it is. And I'm like, no, we're not doing that. I refuse to accept that. So it kind of like, and it took them like 2 weeks to get the results for the MRI. And I was joking to my friend Alex. I was like, dude, it's a good thing I'm not like internally bleeding. I'd be like dead like 10 times over now if I was like waiting for them to get this in a timely manner. So, but it really kind of like caused me to, I don't know, dig around a little bit more and attend to my relationship with the ideas of what it means to be in a body and what it means to be productive and what it means to, this, that, and the other, all kinds of like you were talking about earlier, yada, yada, like all of that stuff. And I don't know. I feel like it's just the energy doing its work. It's the stuff lifting as it needs to. And it's like this weirdly paradoxical, like, it's all good and I'm totally exhausted. I'm doing everything and I'm doing nothing. And I'm inspired and then I'm not at all. And I'm doing and I'm sitting and I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think last time, I don't remember if it was on mic or not, but we talked about like the contradictions and things. I think it was on mic. And that's definitely what it's been feeling like, this time of contrast and kind of seeing both sides of reality and them both being true simultaneously, right? Of like, it's this time to do nothing, and in that you're still accomplishing everything you need to accomplish, right? And like those two are existing simultaneously, and it's okay to like feel shitty and then also at the same time, or like tired or fatigued or whatever, and then at the same time like know that everything's going perfect and that there's like this brighter horizon, like coming forward, and
Mm-hmm.
all these like this huge time of contrast that for me in relationships as well, and just in so many ways, excuse me. So it's been really fascinating there. And I think one of the ways in which really helped me recently, and that this kind of contrast lesson has been leading to, is just the personality self really saying, like, okay, I don't know. Like, I don't know any of this. I don't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to again and again, like, let go of whatever situation because I don't know. I don't have any grasp. I don't have any handle of what's
Mm-hmm.
going on. I got no like attachment to outcome or ability to affect outcome, and so
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anymore. And there's a liberation in that, in that you then enter the flow of things, and the personality self isn't gripping to, hey, out. How even in very practical ways, how you think it should be going, right? Like, today should be going better because I shouldn't be tired and my ankle shouldn't be hurting. I also sprained my ankle recently, but, like, whatever.
Oh
um and
no.
so it's just a really different way to approach life when you approach everything from this space of, like, I don't know, it's all going to happen as it needs to perfectly, and I'm just going to step out of the way. And um it's been really helpful, and it allows me to appreciate the contrast of each moment, like, perfectly as it is, um without getting hung up on whatever side of it I don't like, right?
Yeah. Which ankle did you sprain?
My left ankle.
Hmm. You know, I know what you're talking about, and I feel like for me, like, funny how people are having foot problems. We're not the only ones.
Got it during softball.
Oh
I
yeah, no. Well, I was dancing, but they told me it was just like the from the old trauma, which is what I think is funny, right? Like and that's what I refuse. Like, I'm okay with it, like, being uncomfortable right now. I'm okay with the fact that it has been inflamed and annoying and making it challenging to walk because it's forcing me into something a little deeper to be seen, to be let go of. Because, right, you can't let go of something until you see it, says the guides. And so I'm like, okay, clearly there's something here. And there's this, again, this feeling like a contradiction between I'm totally okay with what's happening and I refuse to accept what the doctors say is wrong with it. Like, there's something else, But yeah, but it's made it interesting for me. I know, thinking about, like, part of me feels like, there's dog hair on the floor in the hallway. Like, it needs to be swept up. And, there.
I remember that
and
feeling.
but like, I've looked at it several times with my foot being flared up and uncomfortable and being like, you know what, this is okay, I can leave this. Like, just because I think I should be doing this doesn't mean I actually need to be doing this right now. I can do this in perfect time, even though it's not how I think it should happen. So it's certainly, like, forcing some slowdown. Are you slowing down on your sprained ankle?
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm not going to the sports that I signed up for and paid money for, so that's a little disappointing.
Mm.
Um, but kind of yes and no. I'm not doing legs at the gym, unfortunately. So it's just kind of is what it is. It's not too bad, thankfully. So I'm just trying to nurse it a little bit so it gets back to full health.
Yeah. Um, I feel like anytime we, like, damage our feet, that's certainly an invitation to slow down. Yeah. I don't know. So, wait, had I talked to you guys? Had the bathroom been finished last time we recorded?
No, you gotta tell us what's up.
Oh, I'm so excited. After many, many, many months. And I was thinking the other day also, after like many, many, many interesting side quests, it seemed, the bathroom is done. And I'm really excited because, well, number one, that it's done, that I'm done having people like in and out of the house and like running around all over town to find somewhere to work. And so that's really nice. And it's cool because it all turned out like better than I could have expected. And I was sitting in the dining room the other day and I realized, like, this house very much feels like this island. One of the things that I love about living on this island is that it's got delightful fir trees. Like, there's a lot of forest, and then you go around any bend and you've got this like beautiful water view. Like, it's like the coolest island. I mean, a lot of islands are like that, but but I really like it here. And I feel like, with the way that because the bathroom has this kind of like forest feel to it. And, it was funny. Like, I could not have planned it any better because, most of the colors that were painted were not my choice. They were, there were long stories with all of it. But like looking at the finished product, and I'm like, wow, we could not have planned this any better. Like, this is exactly the feel that I was going for, So that's the result of that. And it's funny because the kitchen is called Misty Coast, and I'm like, yeah, that's totally where I live. And then, the bathroom's got like the evergreen. I'm like, yeah, that's totally it. Like, nailed it. Like, this is exactly how I wanted the house to feel. My office is set up in a much better way, like it's more functional. It feels better. There's more space. The dogs like it better. Everything about it is better. And so I'm, like amused, but not surprised by how amazing everything turned out, And then since we were already doing the work, and since the bathtub is big, we had a water softener and a tankless water heater installed. So now we have like better water, and it's better for all the appliances in the house. And, we wouldn't have done any of that if the water damage hadn't happened. We wouldn't have done any of this if the water damage hadn't happened. So I've spent the last couple of weekends between resting my foot and icing it and heating it, and then like doing a little like, spring cleaning, little areas at a time, just kind of like feeling my way through the house, like the spaces where, energy felt, like energy suck spots, and kind of getting things flowing a little more easily, cleaning out some clutter. So, and I find that like whenever I go through that, because it doesn't just happen in the spring for me, whenever I have that kind of inspiration, that motivation, first off, I only do that if I'm inspired. So when it comes from that space of inspiration, but what I'm
still waiting for the inspiration to clean out my closet. It hasn't come for a year now, but it's just got to come one of these days.
It's got to be around the corner, right? But what I've been finding with that is anytime I do find myself in a space of inspiration to do something like that, I realized the other day that it's, how energy has a tendency to shift from the causal level and it makes its way down. That is a beautiful physical representation of the changes happening energetically, right? So for me, by the time I get to the point where I'm like, I'm inspired to reorganize the entire house, that either is, something big is coming after that happens. And it very much feels like okay, this is the integration of the energy that I've been working through. And so I think I was telling you earlier, I'm feeling really hopeful and lighter and all of that kind of stuff. I think that those two things are paralleling, from a really intentional space, I guess. So there's that.
I like that. A physical and energetic spring cleaning you got going on there.
Yeah, exactly. Balanced with the funky foot. But really that's just an opportunity, not actually funky, but but it's really just like an opportunity to learn balance within that, because I realized too that I've been realizing a lot of stuff this week, but that I've had this like pattern of behavior like ever since childhood. And part of it was just like how our family was. There was always stuff to do. And you would like work until you drop dead, like you just work and work and work. And like you only take breaks when you're like suffering, like when you're like, God, I can't do this anymore. And so I'm really learning how to do things at a more leisurely pace, and like, and I think because my foot has not been feeling good, it forces me to take breaks. But I've been finding that I'm really enjoying the rhythm of that. And, there's a lot more creativity happening, and things are like a lot easier as I'm getting them done, and things are getting done and they don't feel like so much work. So there's definitely something else at play here, kind of supporting along the growth and the learning. So, yeah.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a snoring dog in the background? Is that what I hear?
I sure do. He's like right here.
Oh, very cute.
Yeah, we'll take snoring over barking any day.
Yeah, I would like mine to snore very soon.
Well, my guys are older too. They're getting up there. So they take a lot more naps than they used to.
No, I mean that's I think always an important lesson, and for I think I've been thinking a lot about how we're learning all these lessons individually, and they're the same lessons for the collective.
Mm-hmm.
And we're lucky in that we get to experience them individually kind of first, and so when we see it outpictured with the collective, we know what's happening and we're not afraid by it. But I think collectively, this idea of work till you die, productivity, how you bring value to the world,
Mm-hmm.
is very distorted. And it's something that I think we all have to look at. I know I myself, that's been something for me recently, right? Of, okay, well, my work has been more chill, and how do I sit on my hands and not do anything? How do I, not just do things to do things, or, how does one be in leisure and appreciating that life is, but a moment, and, we don't need to achieve everything in every moment, and that just being and enjoying is such a valuable part of life too. And giving ourselves the grace to do that. And so that's been its own experience, so to speak, just like kind of yours.
Yeah, so my question is, like I found myself yesterday just sitting and looking out the window, watching the rain and looking at all the different colors of green, and watching how the water kind of dances on the leaves, and the birds play around in the rain, and really just kind of like being an appreciation for that. And I feel like those are the moments, right? So like what kind of moments like that are you being in appreciation of?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I love walking the dog and just being out in nature there. I went on a little staycation, and I went to this nice resort not far from me, and it's just this beautiful place right on the water. And I just hung out and laid on the chair and just watched people hang out and have fun in the pool. I just took in the scenery. I played some golf and just enjoyed not being good at golf, but still loving the loving the
Yeah.
scenery and being outdoors and the feel of the sun. And it was a really fancy golf course, and so it was really nice doing that. And there was a spa day, and oh my gosh, I just soaked every second of that in. I hadn't really been to a spa like that before, but they had a sauna. I went and sat in there. I made a friend. Then I went in the steam room. Then I went in the Turkish bath. And then I did the whole thing over
Nice.
again. And then I got a massage. And then I did the whole thing over again. And so, without the massage again. But, and so just a state of just trying to be an enjoyment of all the present moment things that were occurring, and really sitting with that. And then there's some work stuff happening that was annoying or bad, or, I was worried about and blah, blah, and stop, chill. And just not letting that get to me or change anything, and still knowing like that's going to take care of itself, and or I'll do whatever I need to when I need to. But in the meantime, like, I'm going to enjoy this. Like, fuck that. I'm not letting, any of this. I'm not letting fear dictate my experience anymore, because it's
Right.
too tiring and it's unnecessary.
Yeah. Yeah. I can appreciate that. Um, hmm. I definitely feel like, like even like the moments like, Leo laying here snoring so loudly. Being an enjoyment of those, or Luna acting like a crazy puppy over there.
Luna's the cat. This is Lotus.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I do the same thing all the time. But she's like flinging her dog bone around the house, which is the loudest, hardest
Oh, it's
thing
funny.
she owns.
I find I'm always doing roll call with mine too. Like, no, the other one, whoever you are. I know who you are. That's funny. So I think that's actually Casey yeah, she's like dreaming super hard. So,
Yeah,
there's something
Lotus
I was
gets a
gonna
lot of
ask you.
puppy dreams.
Yeah, with like the running feet and stuff.
She'll
So
like yip,
cute.
like ruff, 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 ruff. I was like, who are
Yeah.
you talking to?
Yeah. There's something I was gonna ask you that had nothing to do with dogs. I have no idea. What are you excited about right now? Tell me something cool.
Mm, to be honest, like, I'm not even trying to go anywhere in the future with my mind, because I've just been feeling that, like, to go forward, either in excitement or anticipation, like anxiety, it's just a similar feeling, and it creates a level of expectation, whether good or bad or even like neutral, that like something is going to happen and come. Oh, are you still here, Carly? Oh, okay, sorry, I lost your face for a minute there. But just that there is like some other moment that I should be thinking about or moving toward, or like that is going to be there. And so, like, in a very like small sense, like the Nuggets are playing tonight, and I'm gonna enjoy that, and that's gonna be something I enjoy. But like, I'm not even trying to think about like one day in the future, because I know there's a lot of like future stuff that can be really good and really bad, and it's like, I don't know. I've just been noticing, like, anytime I go forward at all, it creates just a certain level of like static or like disconnectedness. And so I'm experimenting with, well, what's it like when I really try not to go anywhere. um and it's interesting. uh so I don't know if that's a good answer to your question.
Oh man. No, I can appreciate wanting to, stay present and not get far ahead of yourself. I feel like I've been finding like things like right now. I'm excited right now about right now. Like, oh, I'm feeling optimistic. Oh, how exciting. Oh, I'm listening to a book I'm really enjoying on Audible. Like, oh, how exciting. um yeah, but I do agree, like there's not much of a difference between excitement and nervousness, just the judgment that we kind of put on it. And I think too that's the other, I don't know, that's the other kind of benefit of being here present, even thinking about like the things that are coming up right now that are exciting. I think it's also an opportunity to look at how we're judging things, and like our relationship with stuff, because that feels like it's been a big theme lately too. The relationship with things, or like our Zinkite talked about, the lower three centers, that certainly has to do with our relationship with. So, Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited that we are here today and that we have been and are again doing our live,
Oh yeah.
I don't know, live Zoom events.
Mm-hmm.
What are we calling those? The Heartfire channeling and healing sessions that we've been doing. I'm excited about that, even though it's not till tomorrow or whenever somebody listens to this. It's at some point in the time.
Yeah. Unfortunately, by the time you're listening to this, you've missed it. But there will be
Yeah.
opportunities in the future. Yeah, no, those are cool. You know, I think it's still a similar thing there where like I don't even want to like think about it because I know I have no control over it, and not like don't want to think about it like I'm ignoring that it exists, right? But I'm, like I appreciate that we have those things, and I'm gonna be there when it comes, because I got that, that's and I'm grateful for that, right? Like I think the same sort of sentiment of what you're asking is like, well, what are you grateful for right now that is present in your life, and that is one of them. It's been a really awesome event, something that has allowed me to practice and commune with all these different people and energies, and it's been a really wonderful experience, and it's leading to some more things, and like getting new Reiki clients, which is so fun, and I love working in that way, one-on-one with people and their energies, and seeing what unfolds there, and just continually trying to move to this space of uh, being present and with whatever pops up, because that's what we have to do in those events, right? Like that's the challenge and the joy of those events is like me and you, we have no idea what's going to happen, and we got to sit and just see what comes through, and it's always just as surprising and beautiful and miraculous to us as it is to anyone else there, which is exciting, you know.
Yeah. It's interesting because like I see what you're saying, and on the other hand, like I have to think about the fact that we're doing this thing because there's an email that needs to go out to people. Like there's this kind of like balance between like staying present and also there are things that need to be attended to. So for me, I think it's been a little more about like, yeah, the thing is tomorrow. I have no idea what is, happening energetically when we do it, and we'll figure that out there. And when I think about it now, I don't know, like I feel like my relationship to it is a little different than yours because I'm like, I do need to think about it.
Well, I wouldn't.
The event has requirements.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I mean, we're both doing work, right, to make this come to life and fruition, right? We're both adding to it. But I think where the kind of distinction is, you can think about something and know that, hey, there's this thing that is going to come in the future and I need to do something now for it, right? Like I need to create this email, I need to create this flyer, I need to edit this, right? And you can be really present with that work that needs to be done today, right? Like it's a present work
Mm-hmm.
that needs to be done, and not moving to an idea of future where like this event is going to take this, and I got to do all this right now, or all this is coming, and like it's a huge load on me, or I got to figure all this out today, or like some of the normal spirals that I know I can go through. And so it's more of this thing exists. I know I'll do whatever needs to be done as needed in the moment, and I'm not going to like project into the future what I think needs to be done or how I need to do it, or it'll I am I'm
Okay.
capable, and I know it'll be done, right? Like because we
Yeah.
are
So
valuing this thing.
right. So it's just how you are managing your relationship with the things that are coming. is what I'm hearing, right? Like same thing with like the work stuff.
You're big
It's
on the
so like
relationships today. I mean, yeah, I mean
apparently.
that's a I guess way to word it, but I think it's about I guess I would just say in that like the shift has been a level of faith, which was the card I pulled last time, that I know that I will am have the skill and capacity and like the care to do whatever I need to do whenever I need to do it to make this thing come to fruition. And then also I'm going to and that allows me to be present with, whatever is needed of me now. And then also I trust, universe, God, whatever, to do like its part in making this thing perfect in all the weird ways that it ends up doing it. And so there is no like idea of what this thing is in the future or what needs to be done about it in the future. It's only like, oh, today's Tuesday, like great day to send out an email, or like, all right, tomorrow I'm gonna need to create a new flyer, and so that'll get done, right? Like I don't know, it's just like a different um you could say relationship, yeah, you could say, yeah, that works too, sure. Like it's just different ways to word these, or to think about these ways in which we're interacting with idea, right? Or you know
Yeah, and that's the hard thing is that, like we're moving so far outside of like the restrictions of the mental body, which is where I think a lot of us have been living for so long, right? Like the importance of the intellect and the procedures and processes, that we're finding ourselves in flow, yet having a challenge communicating about it because the words like don't really work anymore, which is going to make recording a podcast kind of challenging. Oh.
yeah,
Mm.
no, it's a funny
Anyway.
funny contradiction there.
Yeah. Right? Like it's, and I feel like that's what's happening here today too, right? Is like there's like this level of, all this energy that's been coming in, and I've been finding this in sessions too, that it's really hard to have a conversation about it. Like you can feel the energy coming in, you can feel it as it's shifting, and be in the knowing of like what's lifting and moving, and assigning words to what's happening has been becoming increasingly more difficult. So that's fascinating.
I think it's, there are ways in which I think what makes communication interesting, and, what makes something like Paul's book so incredible, is that the language around a lot of this stuff is so simple, because there's a simplified way in which like being is, right, as you move forward. And so the language is so simple that the human mind is going to take it at whatever level it's at. And and I hate to talk about things in levels, right, because it's not a game where you like level up and then you're better, right, but just wherever someone is present or at the time. And that could be the very beginning of the journey. And so when you like hear something like be present, right, it's like, oh, okay, well, I'll just like do what I want right now, and that'll make me happy, right? Like, and that's not even necessarily wrong, right? But like there's so many different layers underneath what these words mean, and these ideas that they can't be complicated, because that's the human mind like interacting with it. And so what makes Paul's book so cool is there's this language that can be integrated or worked with at so many different layers, and each holds deep meaning at these layers. And yet, like when we will try and talk about some of this stuff when we're not as articulate as them, as these beings, or it's a different experience trying to communicate it, there it could almost sound trite, or the experience, which can be uh, seemingly so different uh, from one person to another, can be explained in like very seemingly simplified ways, and non miraculous or like wonderful language, right? That it's an interesting failure of communication, but also it's almost inevitable when communicating with words that like people are only ready to hear you at where they're at, and not in, again, a bad way, but it's just like it's interesting that um experience. I think eventually we'll move to a space where we're just like sitting in experience with each other, and there's just a whole new level of communication there. I don't know. It's fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, and I think it's to some degrees already starting to happen. There's a lot of stuff that I know for a lot of us, when especially when we're in a room together, we can feel the energy, and we don't really need to talk about a lot of stuff, like, transmitting the energy and being in our knowing of what's happening. Um, and I think we're becoming telepathic, so that's going to be useful.
Yeah, I mean, I doing Reiki, I feel definitely more tuned into other people, which is really fun, and even in everyday experience, it's really interesting to. And I think, as the veil of our separation goes away too, right? We just naturally will kind of feel ourselves enmeshing with other people, and getting a level of
Hmm.
communication through that, and experiential
Yeah.
communication, right? Like you're talking about, which is fascinating, which is interesting.
Yeah. We only know like such a small portion of what we're capable of. And it's fun to kind of, I don't know, uncover things as we go. So
Yeah, and I feel like you're someone who's
I love that
especially
for
good
us.
at these other levels of communication with people, and finding information through their energy, and like that's so cool that you've developed this ability, and um refined it over so much time, and I think it's something that's going to be very valuable, like as we all move forward.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's interesting. Interesting where we find ourselves, isn't it? Like that's the cool thing about, I guess being present, being in the moment, being in the flow of things is when you are pausing in appreciation, it's fun to look around and be like, wow, look at where I am. How cool. Like, or at least, I don't know, I keep finding myself in that space lately, like pausing and like, wow, holy shit. Like, I have no idea how I got here. I have no idea what I'm doing, and it's fantastic. Like, I would not want to be anywhere else.
Yeah,
So
such
that's
a
been cool.
fun place to be in. I agree with you. That's awesome. It's fun, and it's beautiful, and it's I think adds to the like faith, right? That like to help us keep trucking, of like, well, look at where I am, and then, like you said, it's all wonderful, it's all beautiful, and I never would have got here otherwise. So, fuck it, I just got to keep adding to this faith, doubling down on letting go of my ideas of what is a good day or a bad day, to circle back to the beginning, or what's
Hmm.
good for me, what's bad for me, or how I want to show up today versus how it's necessary for me to be here, whatever. So that's an awesome
Hmm.
place to be.
Yeah. So we'll see how long I can hold it. Because it's, I mean, it kind of is, it's all kind of a game, right? Like a game of balance, it feels like, of balance, being in the present and being an allowance, and balancing the things that come up and holding them lightly and having as much fun as possible with it. At least that's important for me. I feel like I do better when I'm having fun with it, even if it's something that I don't like.
Yeah.
You know, how can I? How can I am big on relationships today. How can I be in relationship with this today without judgment?
Yeah. No, I think you're spot on, and just the idea of having fun with life, even when we're down or things seem gloomy or whatever. Just finding the ways to find the sweetness in life and experience,
Mm-hmm.
and our
Yeah.
challenges and our struggles and what we want to work with. It's important. I think it's perfect observation.
Hmm. How fun. Should we draw some
Yeah, let's
cards?
do it.
What deck are you going to work with
I'm
today?
feeling my crystal mandala deck. Or should I not do a crystal because we already did crystal?
We can do crystals forever. There are no rules here.
Forever. No, I love this deck. I'm going to do this one.
Mm-hmm.
So fun. Do you want to go first?
I can go first. I'm going to use the Shaman's Dream today.
Yay. My last one was Unconditional Trust, and I felt like that was a card I kept with me over the last 2 weeks, and it's been really helpful. And Mother Mary and her energy.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't remember what mine was last time, but I wound up like a week or so ago. I wound up pulling a card from like every single deck that I have in this basket.
What?
It was like a lot of cards, right? Yeah, and I don't know.
That's
It was
so
just
fun.
it was just what I was doing in the moment, and it was interesting to see like how everything fit together and made sense. As when I put it all together, it actually made like a reading. And it was like so positive. And it felt very supportive and very abundant. And because I pulled it after I felt like something had shifted, some of that funk that I felt like I had been in. So I guess my question and intention today, and this feels more like a for all of us, so just some guidance moving forward from whatever this point is for whomever happens to be listening right now. How about that? So our card today is Deep Quiet, which is meditation and stillness. And I like the visual of this. Like it's
beautiful.
Yeah, it very much feels like we're in a cave tapping into. This is the color that the heart fires looks a lot of times to me. So I kind of love that. But it is important for us to, and I feel like we've been kind of touching on that today, like being in this place of stillness so that we can be in appreciation for wherever we are, whatever we've got going on. When deep quiet appears, it is a message from the cosmos calling you to stillness, to step outside the concerns of your everyday life. This does not mean to slow down and take a breath, although that is a good start. The cosmos is inviting you to go deep, to that place where the noise stops and there is only the vast emptiness of inner space. When we don't respond to the invitation offered by deep quiet, life can stop us in our tracks with an illness or a crisis, or a sprained ankle, or bursitis in your foot. Listen to the still small voice. Remember that you want to catch spirit on a whisper, not a shout. That's always what I call it, like 2x4 therapy. Like,
Yeah.
And it is, like, let's not. And it is only human to argue that you are too busy to slow down, that you don't have the time, the inclination, or the money for a retreat. Do not let any of these reasons get the better of you. Stop the world and enter the deep quiet before you come to a crashing halt. After you have said yes to this invitation, you will find that the world can get along quite well without the need for you to manage it. You will enjoy the freedom that comes with stillness, the clarity and spaciousness offered by the silence.
I love that. How do you feel?
Me too. Yeah, that feels like that's definitely for me as well, because that's really been one of the things that I've been kind of playing with, as
Mm-hmm.
I'm being forced from the shout of the pain in the foot to rest. I'm finding more and more appreciation in the stillness and in the quiet. And so it's allowing me, when I'm not in pain, to still take the time and have the space, create the space for myself to be in the still and quiet, so that it doesn't come to a place where, like, I have no choice because I'm in pain, and allowing and choosing from a place of power. So I very much appreciate that.
Mm. I want to so there's this channel, Carissa Schumacher, who has a book where she channels Yeshua, and he talks about the four chambers of the Sacred Heart. And he says they are simplicity, stillness, surrender, and stability. And I love
Mm,
those. And it feels very
yeah.
very on point with that card, right? Of this cultivation of the Sacred Heart, because we do need to be still, right? We do need to have that inner stillness if we're going to be present for other people, if we're going to be present for ourselves, right? We need to be able to hear the whispers of, the divine,
Mm-hmm.
or whoever, or our inner self. And um so we don't repeat those old patterns that came up in the first card. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I love that card. Yeah, great pull.
Thanks. All right, what do you get?
All right, my question is just, since you did one for you and everyone, I'm just gonna say whatever I need to know, or whatever this card needs to be. Hmm. Interesting. Angel Azul and Smoky Quartz. And this is
Hmm.
Heavenly Mercy. Can you see the card?
Oh yeah.
Heavenly Mercy. That's so interesting. Angel Azul. I don't know that. IZZ, or excuse me, UZZIEL. All right, let's see what it says here. We bring you the gift of heavenly mercy. As you grow spiritually, your energy field becomes more substantial. Your thoughts and actions carry more karmic weight in the world. As your power increases, your ability to do good increases too. Your positive words can have a potent effect on others. So too can the very human movements human moments where you have been having an off day and unintentionally respond to another in a way that is not unconditionally loving. We do not want you to be afraid of becoming powerful. We know that most often you are going to make a positive contribution with your power. We also know that sometimes you will wish you can undo a choice you have made and its effect. To help you, we offer a karmic protection where the destructive impact of your actions is softened, and the positive effect of your actions is enhanced. As you grow in power and impact, our gift of heavenly mercy will surround you, aligning your actions with divine will and blessing you, and all affected by you with divine compassion. Let me just read one more here. As you grow spiritually,
Hmm.
your energy field increases. There's a spiritual weight that is generated in the soul, and it translates into your thoughts, words, and actions, carrying greater power, influence, and impact on the world. Your thoughts can become more powerful in effect than the actions that some may take. Your feelings can become powerful enough to transform the energy of a room or even a group of people. Some advanced souls affect entire cities as they travel, their light triggering, clearing, and uplifting the entire frequency of that plane. When your impact might have been limited, though just as important to having an effect on one person when you speak, the power of increasing your spiritual impact can cause the energy of your words to be broadcast far and wide through the inner planes. Those who are sensitive enough will be consciously be able to see and feel you as they meditate or sleep. Oh, that's kind of freaky. You'll be working for the light even when you think you are not. Well, there's a lot more here, but it's interesting. I'll read just one more.
That is interesting.
As you continue to embody more spiritual light, your energy field expands to accommodate it. Your ability to have an effect simply through your presence become increasingly tangible and far-reaching. This will only continue as you grow. You become increasingly like the sun, just shining, whether others can always see or hear you consciously or not. You are there, giving light, radiant with a higher consciousness and supporting life.
So, what do you think about that?
It's an interesting card. I think it's a great reminder of how, there is a responsibility here as we grow in ourselves and in our energy, and a great reminder of how impactful, we can be just by being. And I don't know, it's kind of a fascinating card. What do you think?
To me, it feels hopeful. Everything feels hopeful right now. But that does. And it also causes me to think about how, like, I've been really focused on, for the last several years, the responsibility that comes along with, the work that I've been doing, right? Like the person who's the space holder, who's helping people navigate their energy to lift and kind of live from a soul space. And for me, there's felt like so much responsibility. And lately, I think I've been holding myself back from allowing that light to continue to expand, because I've had a little maybe hidden fear of the responsibility of what that means. But it's not a burden, it's a blessing, right? And like having that support, which has been there all along, of course it has, but the pointing out the fact that that support is there to amplify the things that are happening from a space of flow and help slow things down a little bit for the moments when they're not in flow is kind of liberating and also hopeful.
Yeah.
So that card felt like it was also for me. So thanks.
Of course. No, I love that so much. And like you said, you are supported in that work, and it's not all up to you, right? To like, the Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility, but you also have a team, on your back helping you. And so, yeah, that's a great way to reframe that. Because you already are so light and have so much light to give, and don't hold yourself back from that. You can trust that you've earned that light that you've got, and you've got support in expanding it.
Yeah. Interesting. And I know that's right. I know that's true. And it's funny because it reminds me of like this time when I was in my 20s, and it was like when I was first learning energy work, and how I was out of balance at the ego and how I got smashed down like really aggressively. So, and
that's not where you are anymore, right?
No, it's not. But it's funny because there's a little discomfort when I think about that. So I'm like, oh, this is really beneficial for all this to come up. And like, oh, okay, cool. Here we are. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And
another,
you could know, like, that was just something that, as needed to happen. And now you're so much further from that space, like beyond even what you can fathom. Like the guides talked about, and our friend Jordan brought this up, a few days ago. If we went back into the energetic fields of ourselves, even just 5 years ago, like we wouldn't be able to stand it. And I think that's so true,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I know, like, that period of my life was actually like a really important catalyst too. So I can definitely look at that with appreciation and allow the remnants of fear to be lifted. because I don't even think it's possible to go back to that anymore. Like it's just so far out of alignment with who I am now that it's like it's just not possible to go back to that.
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
Yeah. So, and it's not us doing any of this. Like we're showing up, but we're not in charge. What a relief.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, lucky us. So, anything else you want to add about your card?
No, I don't think so.
No? All right. Well, this has been fun as always. And we only had one technical challenge today. Hooray!
Yeah.
So
we're on the incline of less technical challenges.
getting better and better. So with that said, thank you as always for joining. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for liking and subscribing and sharing with your friends. And if you would like to attend one of our evening Zoom live workshops, you can find the information posted with the episode on how and where to get your tickets.
It's on your website. It's just so people know. Yeah, so it'll be on Carly's website. So that link will be at the bottom and you can just click on that.
Yep. And we would love to see you there. We would love to have you there. And Tom, am I missing anything?
I don't think so. You're good. You get it all.
All right. I love that for us. Well, then until next time.
Oh, sorry for the yawn.
That's a great way to move energy. Like I've been yawning like crazy. So keep on yawning.
Oh, I will. All right. Bye, y'all.